Welcome back to the Bordas and Bordas Hotline, fighting for justice. Bordas and Bordas. You can call it at 412-575-2600. Bob Pompeani along with Gene Collier with you. Matt Murray got run into by Jacob Voracek, and his right leg was pinned against the goalpost. It looked like it was awkward. He was down, and they had to take him off the ice. Gene, that is officially, as you would imagine, a lower body injury with no update until tomorrow. But it's going to either looks like a hamstring or something with the knee. Nothing specific from the Penguins tonight, but Tristan Jarry had to come in. He was a goaltender of record, and he played well to get a win, second in 2 games for him. So it's good they have a backup capable of coming in like that, and he's a young kid as well. But that looked bad when it happened.
Yeah, I would have to have been watching the game to comment on this, Bob. But it's interesting to see how the Penguins will operate here for the first time in 3 years without 2 Stanley Cup winning goaltenders in the same locker room. So we'll see how it develops. I hope Matt's okay.
Yeah, I thought Jarry, though, acquitted himself very well against Tampa. He was the reason they won that game, even though they got 3 5-on-3 goals and a shorthanded goal. Special teams outstanding, but if it wasn't for Jarry, especially in the first period of that game when Tampa came out and outshot him 14-3 to start, it would have been a totally different situation. Let's go to the lines. Gene, we got Jerry in Hempfield. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Bob and Gene. Hey, Bob, I'm going to tell you again that the Steelers are not as good as their record indicates. Even though Gene says they're 9-2 and that it just wins, that doesn't mean anything at this point. When they have
that means a lot at this point. It means they're tied with the best team.
Okay, when they have one of the best offenses and they have probably one of the best defenses, and they play Green Bay with the best quarterback out and a couple defensive linemen out and the rookies there, and they have to win at the last second by a field goal. That should tell you something to me with all the star people they have on the Steelers, and they have to win again by a field goal. How many times have they won? They won 3 games because of a field goal.
But again, as Gene says, Jerry, there are no style points in this game. This is all about wins and losses. And yes, I agree. They've had too many breakdowns, and you heard me say right before the break here, thank you, when you give up 7 touchdown passes, all of them basically 40 yards or longer, you got problems in your secondary. And, Gene, we're not kidding anyone. If you do that and continue to have those breakdowns, Tom Brady will beat you like a drum. There's no doubt about it. I thought the key, I watched the Miami game yesterday, and one of the things they did is they got in Brady's face quite a bit. In fact, he didn't like it when they did that a few times. It looked like they were trying to, after the play maybe, was even, pushing it. And the Steelers are one thing they do have this year, consistency and health at the defensive line. Cam Hayward, Steph Tuitt, along with Javon Hargrave, Alualu, those guys can put pressure on a quarterback. They need to do that in that game.
They've gotten consistent pressure. I thought there was a great second half play by T.J. Watt last night. He made 3 critical plays down the stretch, without which they just simply don't win. That was kind of overlooked in all the excitement over Antonio Brown. But look, there's plenty to criticize about the Steelers, and thank God, because we talk about them 24 hours a day around here. But if you're anywhere else in America, say San Diego, say Seattle, say Denver, you'd be very lucky to be a Steelers fan.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I thought T.J. Watt, that sequence where they were in field goal range at the time, and then number 1, L.T. Walton, another guy on that defensive line, comes in, makes a play, and then Watt on Jordy Nelson. That's not easy to do. And by the way, that is one of the reasons why James Harrison does not get in there, because those linebackers are dropping back into coverage quite a bit. He can't do that as well at age 39.
And then Hayward gets a sack on the next play.
Right, so that's 3, and it drives him into it. And Mike McCarthy, there's no reason for him to make that attempt, 57 yards. It's way too long, I think.
Probably not. I thought that's really the defensive series where the Steelers won the game.
All right, let's go to line 2. That's Bert in Bell Vernon. What's up, Bert? How are you tonight?
Okay, Bob, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Great. Gene, thanks.
Sure.
Yeah, I saw a team, that I thought can beat New England. Obviously, Huntley had the game of his life. Like they say, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn. But I didn't think Brady could have played any better than he did last night. I listened rather to the announcers comparing him favorably to Rodgers and Favre. I think given.
I mean, the bottom line is any quarterback in the NFL should be capable of hitting wide open. Randall Cobb was wide open after Artie Burns just left him. Sensabaugh gambled so much that Devontae Adams, Gene, was wide open. If you're not capable of making that play in the NFL, you don't belong. Jacoby Brissett, this is what the Steelers, and if you're concerned, this is why. They made guys like Jacoby Brissett and Brent Huntley looked like Aaron Rodgers and Andrew Luck.
They did, but even at that, this is only the second time they've allowed 3 touchdowns in a game. And I would point out also the Steelers are 8-0 when they score even 20 points. So it's not like they're lugging around a terrible defense. They've had a bit of a slump here in the last 2 or 3 weeks, but am I concerned about them? No.
And if you didn't appreciate Joe Hayden, you certainly did after that game and the last couple of games. I think you see what he means. All right, let's go out to line 4. That's Dave in Bell Vernon. Hello, Dave. How are you?
I'm good, Bob. I was listening to Fox and different ones this morning. Donovan McNabb, different ex-players, and he was saying that he thought that the Steelers, that the coach there for the Steelers was talking so much about New England that he thought maybe the players, because they have a tendency to kind of look ahead. He said he couldn't see Belichick ever doing that in New England. He probably hasn't even thought about the Steelers yet.
I disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. I totally disagree. I think Bill Belichick knows a lot about what goes on. I also think Mike Tomlin is smart enough to know what he's saying at all times. And this is what I hate, Gene, about the way things go sometimes. I have no problem with Mike Tomlin, what he said. He's talking to Dungy, say it. If you're looking for that at his press conference coming up tomorrow, he's not going to do that game because he just doesn't. However, we sit here and we want coaches to say more. Everyone complains about Belichick because he says nothing. And then when somebody says something, it becomes critical. And why did you do that? I don't find, it's good for talk shows. It's good for shows like this. But it doesn't really. They're not going to lose to New England because of what Mike Tomlin said yesterday, right?
I agree with that 100%. As I tweeted earlier today, this is the thing that puts coaches in a bad spot with the media. If they stick to coach speak, we criticize them for sticking to coach speak. If they tell you how they really feel, we criticize them for being imprudent and not sticking to coach speak. So what are they supposed to do? The notion that you said that may have been passed along by Donovan McNabb, who knows absolutely nothing about the Steelers, by the way, that the players may have played that way because of what Mike Tomlin said to Tony Dungy. None of the players knew he said that to Tony Dungy. No, they didn't. So that's ridiculous.
No, it's just what people like to talk about. And this,
thank God. What would we be doing?
This tweet sums it up. Gary Brandt says, "Hey Bob and Gene, these fans sound like the Steelers are 4-7. Those other teams, except for the Browns, are pros too. Steelers are young and getting better." Good for some perspective there, Gary. We appreciate that. More tweets and more calls on the way. You're watching the Nightly Sports Call right here on the Bordas & Bordas Hotline, Pittsburgh CW.